Sometimes people say we dirty our shoes on purpose. I'm here to set the record straight. Sometimes we do. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this new episode of Restorations with Vic. Before we get into what I'm going to be working on today, I do want to show you guys my new temporary setup 2.0. We got some new IKEA shelves. Got my custom displayed behind me. Over here, we got all my Reshoevn8r products, my paints. On this side, we got all my other products, my indoor setup. It looks good, but we're still working on a 3.0. That's where I'm going to need your guys' help. Comment down below on what else you guys want to see behind me. Do you guys want to see more customs, more lights, TVs, Reshoevn8r products? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below, guys. So back to the shoes. What I'm going to be working on are these 2016 cooked Bred-Toe ones. As you can see, they're trash all around. Air Jordan 1s are my favorite shoe to work on because they're so easy. It doesn't matter what the colorway is, they're all the same thing. We're going to be removing the yellowing off the soles, cleaning these shoes up, repainting the uppers, and removing the creasing on these shoes. Super easy, guys, so let's get started. So typically for a restoration, I like to use Reshoevn8r Street Brush Advanced League Laundry System and put the shoes inside the washing machine, but for these shoes, we don't need all that. We're only gonna be using Reshoevn8r Street Brush 4-ounce kit, as well as our brass bristle brush and shoe tree. The first step you gotta do is put this shoe to the side, remove our shoelaces, pop in our adjustable Reshoevn8r shoe tree to size. What this does is help remove the creasing after the shoe is fully dried and clean, and it helps us apply pressure on the toe box as we're cleaning. We're also going to remove the shoelaces. As I'm removing the shoelaces, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Vick Almighty for some sneak peek shots of what I'm going to be working on next. We might as well take out the insole as well so we can give this a good cleaning during the cleaning process. All right, so we have our shoe tree in. The next step we're gonna do is grab our 4-ounce bottle of solution and pour 2 squirts. We're gonna wanna grab our bowl of water and put it closer to the shoe and get started with our first brush, which is our soft bristle. What this brush is gonna do is start breaking down the dirt all over the uppers, and then we'll start focusing on certain areas with this brush. So as you can see, the circular motion is the way to go. That's the best way to clean a shoe for 2 reasons. 1, you hit the shoe evenly all around, you don't miss any areas, and you create the most suds that way. All right, so one thing I'm noticing as I'm cleaning the shoe, the red leather is bleeding a little bit. It's on the brush. I was expecting that. That's okay. The shoes are gonna get repainted anyway, but do watch out if you guys are cleaning the shoe. Make sure to not oversaturate the leather. If the shoe's not that dirty like this shoe, just very lightly clean it. That way you'll avoid causing the leather to bleed badly. All right, so the uppers are good for now. We're gonna let the suds break down the grime and the dirt all over the uppers. We're gonna start focusing our attention on the insides with the same brush and the tongue. So as you can see, I'm spending a lot of time on the insides of the shoe. The insides are just as important as the outsides. There's a ton of germs on the inside of the shoes, especially on used ones. I see the comments, guys. I should be wearing gloves. I just hate wearing them. Leave me alone. All right, so I think the insides look good on the shoe. Let's go ahead and finish off using the soft bristle brush with these super dirty insoles. All right, guys, on to the medium bristle brush. For this brush, we're only gonna be focusing on one thing. The uppers overall look good already just by using the soft bristle brush. What I'm gonna be using this brush is to clean up the white dingy stitching all over the white panel. It's super dark. It's obviously supposed to be a creamy off-white color, but right now it's just black brown, not what it's supposed to look like. So I'm just gonna focus a lot of my time on that stitching. All right, guys, so I think the uppers are good to go. That's probably as clean as they're gonna get. Let's go ahead and finish off strong with the last two brushes, which is our stiff bristle brush and our brass bristle brush. We'll be using our stiff to clean up the soles and the brass for the white midsoles. I'm gonna be really focusing my time with the brass bristle brush on the stitching. The stitching is super brown and dingy. I'm gonna do my best to get it back to as white as possible. If that white doesn't come back, we're gonna have to resort to Salon Care 40 later on in this video. Honestly, guys, not bad for just using our Rejuvenator 3-brush 4-ounce kit. I'm a big fan of putting the shoes inside the washing machine, but sometimes you just don't have to do all that. All we gotta do now is let the shoe dry, and while we're doing that, it's time for me to get a freaking haircut. I'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back. Got my fresh haircut. I look good, I feel good. Check it out. But more importantly, the shoe turned out terrific just by using our 3-brush 4-ounce kit. Honestly, from this point of view, it may not look like the shoe needs any more restoration. The clean just turned out so good. The soles are back to white, the uppers are spotless. Same thing with the insides. The shoe just turned out really, really good by using our 3-brush 4-ounce kit. But if you look closely, the uppers are pretty faded, especially on the red. During the cleaning process, there was a lot of bleeding from the red leather. Also, under all that grime and dirt, there was a ton of scuffs and scratches, and it's all noticeable now. It's really pretty bad. Same thing with the soles. The soles are white, but we could get it back to a glowing white. There's little yellowing on the edges. Same thing with the stitching. The Salon Care 40 in my indoor setup is gonna bring that back to a glowing white. Let's do that now. All right, so we made it to my indoor setup. I'm still working on the 3.0, but it's in the works. Let's go ahead and put the shoe inside my box. Grab the light. Hook it up. Soles look good, guys. Got the little yellowing out of the sole. Same thing with the stitching. It's glowing white again. It looks good all around. Let's start focusing on the uppers on this restoration. So like I mentioned, there's a lot of scuffs and faded leather all around the red. Some areas in the white, we'll focus on that later. We're gonna focus on the red right now. Luckily, I have experience mixing and matching colors, but it does sometimes take me several hours to accomplish. For this shoe, luckily I have experience working with it, so I kind of know what colors to mix. But if you guys are working with Chicago ones, Bred-Toes, they're all the similar reds, but they're always usually different ratios. So for Bred ones, you would want to mix fire red and red paint. For this shoe, it would be a little bit different. So usually what I do is start with these 4 colors and go from there. So for this shoe, it has more of a darker red. So automatically, I'm gonna take away 2 colors, which is the chili red and the fire red. Both these colors are more of a vibrant red. This shoe isn't vibrant at all, so automatically, we'll take these out. Now, when you're mixing colors, you're gonna wanna really think outside the box. Stare at the shoe for a bit, just look at other colors you see. What I see isn't red. I see red mixed with a little bit of pink. That's where the magenta comes. The red is more of a darker red. That's where the red comes. So we'll be mixing both these colors to create a perfect match for this Bred-Toe one. We also need duller. This stuff is very important when you're mixing and matching colors because it can make a big difference. You do not want to try to mix a color and match it if it has a glossy finish, because typically on a factory shoe like this, it has a matte factory finish, never a gloss. So this stuff gets rid of the gloss, highly recommended. So we got our paint perfectly matched in this jar, but we're gonna break it down for you one more time. So you're gonna wanna get a glass jar, plastic jar, just a jar, you need a jar. We're gonna start with the red paint. You don't want to start with a lot of paint because you're just going to end up wasting paint that way. You don't want to start off with very little paint and go from there. And then for magenta, you're just going to want to add just a tiny bit. This red is already pretty close to the red on the Bred-Toes. It's just missing a little bit of pink. That's where this comes in. It's better not to overdo it. Just add a few drops at a time and go from there, guys. Next, you're gonna wanna grab the duller. All you really need is 2 or 3 drops to get rid of the shine. Sorry guys, I'm out of duller, but I got a couple of drops in there. Now all you gotta do shake. All right, let's go ahead and check out the red. Just by looking at it, it looks pretty close to the red on the leather. Obviously, this is not the way you want to compare it, but from the looks of it, I'm pretty close. I might not be there yet. So what I usually do is grab an old beater shoe. It doesn't matter what it is. I have a ton of them. Unfortunately, I've been using the gray 5 to mix and match paints. I used it on the red earlier. I use it for the gray for the white cements. This is gonna be totally beat in the next couple of weeks. So you grab the shoe, grab a paintbrush, and just grab the paint, give it a few layers, use the heat gun, and then grab the beater shoe and compare it to the actual red leather and see how close you are. So ideally for this step, you're gonna wanna have a brand new Bred-Toe one. Obviously that's hard to do. You can't always come across a brand new pair of shoes to be able to match the paint perfectly. What I do is look for the area on the shoe that's least damaged. So what I'm looking at right here is this area right here. It's not faded, it's not scratched. I think that's the original red. We're gonna compare it to that with the beater shoe. And if I think it's close enough, I start adding paint on that area. Once I put the paint on that area and I use a heat gun, if it dries and I can still see where I laid down the paint, obviously the paint's not perfectly matched. I have to go back and add some more red, add more magenta, or just come up with a whole different color and add to it. It's trial and error, guys. You gotta think outside the box with this one, have some patience. But at the end, once you get that perfect color match, it's the best feeling in the world, satisfaction all the way. I just highly recommend you guys have patience for this step. All right, so the red right there is a bit more vibrant than I want it to be, so I'm gonna add some more red. Obviously, we already got the red right here. It's perfectly matched. You guys got the idea on how to mix and match paint. If you guys want me to go even more in depth on this stuff, let me know in the comment section below. I will make a whole separate video on this step, guys. Let's go ahead and move on and start laying down the red all over the panels. But first, I gotta do some prep work. There are some areas on this back panel that are pretty scratched up, like you can feel the scratch inside the leather. You gotta sand it down. What we're gonna use is some 1200 grit sandpaper, lightly in a circular motion, sand down those areas, and then we'll start painting. All right, guys, sanding is fully done. It looks good. Got everything super smooth. I spent a lot of time on this step. Now let's go ahead and start laying down the paint. We already mixed and matched the paint. Got our angular brush. Let's do it. All right, guys, so the red leather is good to go all around. It came out perfect. The color mixture was on point, and the leather came out super smooth thanks to the sandpaper. So moving on with this restoration, we're about 85 to 90% done. We got to work on these off-white panels. I already went ahead and created the color mixture for them. Usually when I'm trying to create the color mixture for anything that's slightly off-white, I always use two colors, flat white paint and cream. So obviously every shoe has different tones of off-white. For this shoe, it's more on the creamier side. So what I did was just add more cream. If it's not as noticeable, if you're working on a shoe that doesn't have that much off-whiteness, if it's not as creamy, just add more white. Super simple, guys. So let's go ahead and lay down the paint using an angular brush. All right, guys, so just so you guys know, I didn't show it on camera, but I did prep this area with acetone and cotton balls. Make sure you do that before you lay down the paint. That way it adheres to the material perfectly. All right, guys, so the painting on this shoe is completely done. The last step I gotta do is give the uppers a clear coat using some Krylon matte finish. Let's go outside. All right, YouTube, that is gonna wrap it up on this full restoration on these Air Jordan Bred-Toe 1s. Before I talk about how fantastic this shoe turned out, I do wanna mention that I did create this colorway back in 2016 for Jordan Brand. If you guys don't believe me, check out the video right above me. If you check out the date, it dates before the actual shoe release. It's the exact same colorway, and I actually even named it the Bred-Toe 1s. Jordan Brand, you guys owe me a check. So back to the shoes. The most noticeable thing on this Air Jordan Bred-Toe 1 is how clean it turned out. As you can see on the before, super disgusting all around. You got grime, you got dirt, you got spilled drinks, you got scuffs, you got scratches, you got yellowing, all that nasty stuff. Most of it came out thanks to using Reshootinator's 3-brush 4-ounce kit. our brass bristle brush, and our shoe tree. We used all 4 brushes for different things. Our soft bristle brush broke down the dirt all over the leather. We used it a lot for the insides and the tongue. Once that was all done, we used a medium all-purpose brush to take care of the white stitching all over the white panels, got them back to white. Use a stiff bristle brush to clean up these soles, and finish it off using the brass bristle brush to bring the whiteness on the midsoles back to a glowing white, along with Salon Care 40, of course. We used our shoe tree to get rid of the creasing on our toe box. The toe box came out perfect. That's probably one of the better things about this whole restoration. I didn't have to do any work. I let the cleaning and the drying process take care of the creasing. Super proud of that. Overall, the cleaning turned out really good. Once the cleaning was all done, I moved on to removing the yellowing off the sole, got the soles back to a glowing white, did a lot of work on the uppers, sanded them down, mix and match the paint, and overall it turned out perfect. That was about it, guys. I did mention in the beginning of the video, Air Jordan 1s are super easy to do. It's one of my favorite shoes just because it doesn't take long at all. And at the end, they always turned out really, really good if the process is done right. It's always mainly the cleaning and very minor touch-ups on the uppers. If you guys are interested in our Rejuvenator products you see right here, head over to rejuvenator.com, use my promo code in the description below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us provide better content for you guys. This is Vic Almighty. I'll see you guys next Monday.